Alright guys, so we have ran from Galleria Accademia and now we're in front of Cathedral Santa Maria del Fiore. It is Florence's largest cathedral. It is magnificent. It was started in the 13th century, believe it or not, and it took more than 150 years to create. Which, to be quite honest, now that we looked at the Milan one, it's pretty quick. And I have to say, this church, this cathedral is nothing like what I've seen before. It's obviously a very classic Gothic design, but the colors are so unique. Never seen anything like it, so check it out. Here we are, Santa Maria del Fiore, cathedral in the heart of Florence. Look at this. This is so unique. Like there's green and red and white combination of color, and it's I just never seen it. I never seen anything like this. Wow. And across from us, there's, as you can see, we're in the center here, but wow, look at all the detail and wow, and the beautiful glass artwork right there. We're hopefully gonna see it from inside pretty soon. But yes, the color of these stones is sort of greenish and some reddish pink hue. Very nice. Huh. Look at that. So elaborate. Wow. Alright guys, we are inside the cathedral and I just want you to look at the size of this thing. It is humongous. But you know, yet it's so different than what we've seen in the major cathedrals in Venice and Milan. This one is also Gothic, as you can see, sort of these high arching columns and sort of elongated windows. But this one is probably the simplest interior of the two major cathedrals that we saw. As you can see, the walls are simply one color, and unfortunately there's some renovation on this side, so obviously we would have seen more glory here, but you can see sort of what it should look like. But yeah, this is fantastic. Like, you know, very, very beautiful cathedral, very huge. We'll walk up to the altar, take a better look. But you know, quite different. Oh, and there's the famous Duomo, one of the biggest ones in the world. I think the only other bigger one is the top of the Pantheon building. I think that one is actually even larger than this one. But I believe out of all the Christian churches, this is the largest one. And wow, you know what? Wow, look at that. There's not much artwork anywhere, but as you walk up here and you look up, it's like a whole different reality opens up to you. You can see hell, you can see heaven, you can see God, Jesus Christ, surrounded by angels. Wow. This is beautiful. Oh my God. I'm in awe. You know, there's certain effect of minimalism on the walls, as you can see. You know, not much to look at here, really. You know, it's beautiful, but, you know, artwork-wise, very minimalistic. And then you get up here and you go boom. You know, and you just get taken back by the beauty of these frescoes. Wow. Let's see if we can walk up even closer. Wow. Oh my goodness. Just fantastic. And then of course, just below here is where the altar is, as you can see. And then to the sides you have 2 more spaces here. And you know, this of course is built in a very traditional cathedral style where the building resembles a cross. You know, you have one plank sort of going that way and the long plank going that way. So that's how, ooh, look at this. This is a nice view from here. You get a clock there too, but you can sort of imagine the believers coming here and sitting in this very benches, and then as they listen to the bishop up here, or a priest, you know, they would be constantly reminded by looking up and seeing this amazing beauty of the other world, the other reality. Life after earth, after judgment. Wow, look at that. Wow. All right, we're outside, and I do have to say, for maybe a little lack of elaborate paintings and frescoes inside throughout the whole building, this church definitely makes up for it in its external design. Like, look at this. Here's the bell tower. Look how beautiful it is. And here's the cathedral itself. As you can see, it's just uniquely designed. I've never seen any other cathedral being designed in this kind of very symmetrical, kind of square drawings, and it's very interesting. And here's of course the Duomo. We'll see if maybe we can get up there just to see the view from there. Definitely, out of all my experiences in all of churches and cathedrals, the exterior of this building is one of the most impressive and unique ones I have seen yet. The interior is beautiful, and the frescoes in the dome are great. Like, well, not great, they're fantastic. But the outside just leaves you speechless. So nice. All right, guys. Well, we have 2 more hours left in Florence. I picked up a little cough along the way. But we have 2 hours left in Florence, and we're just gonna walk around, see last few sites. I'll show you around. I think it's quite cool. So let's spend these 2 hours with intensity. Hey guys, so this is a little stop along the way. A very, very special place. So we're just walking through the bookstore, but actually it is located inside Dante Alighieri's house. This is where he was born. Of course, he is the author of the monolithic poetry trilogy, the Divine Comedy, Paradiso, Purgatory, and Inferno. And we are right here, just outside the house where he was born many 100 years ago. Let me just show you this. Look at this. This is Alighieri's birthplace right here. This not so humble house. It's very, very cool. Puts everything in perspective. Like, you know, these are the walls that he saw as a kid. Wow. Fantastic. It's not too far away from the basilica. It's just up the street there. So, well, cool. I'm glad we made a stop here. Let's keep on going. And look at this from this side. The building is even cooler. You have the monument to Dante here. And inside is a museum, but we unfortunately don't have the time to go in today. But we can at least take a glimpse on his original birth and living place, and just reimagine kind of the history that he went through and how that reflected in his books and where it was conceptualized right here in the heart of Florence. All right, let's keep on going. These Florentian streets really remind me of Venice. You know, Florence is just a little bit bigger, you know. Everything is a little bit bigger, so there's actually cars here, right? And obviously there's no water canals, but it really gives you that Venetian vibe with just a little more grandeur. So I like it. You know, it's sort of best of two worlds. It's not too crowded, but you can still lose yourself within the history of this town that hasn't really changed its shape for hundreds of years. So quite unique. All right, guys, and just 3-minute walk from Dante's house, we have walked up to Piazza della Signoria, and this is considered to be the birthplace of the Florentine Republic. You know, this is one of the first fortifications that was built here in Florence, and this is where the Medici, of course, would live. And right in front of it, look at this beautiful fountain we found. This one is called Fountain of Neptune. So here is the old Greco-Roman god of antiquity standing, carried by 3 horses, as you can see in his carriage. Again, a very classic, you know, Roman visualization, and there's different characters surrounding him. Really quite unique. A beautiful fountain here in the Main Plaza. This is quite a famous place for the Florentines to meet. As you can see, it's a nice central location, and it is filled with with different artworks. Unfortunately, I don't think many of them are original. I don't know, but I really don't think they are. These are probably replicas that have been placed here just to preserve the originals. But most of these you can visit in the museum nearby. But look how beautiful these things are. Oh my. Of course, here's David that we saw just earlier. So of course this would be the replica, and this is originally where David stood for 200 years before they moved him into the Accademia Galleria right there. But there you are. Look at this. There's what probably is Medusa with her head cut off from the Greek mythology. There's other Greek symbolism here everywhere you look. I think that's Hercules right there, fighting with a minotaur. Oh man, this is, yeah, right there. This is really cool. Man, can you imagine just living and being surrounded by this history constantly? Like, what a lucky bunch of people they are here. Gosh, just beautiful. And here's, of course, the main fortress with its bell tower. All right, guys, well, I would love to spend a few hours here, but unfortunately we gotta run on. We only have 1 hour left before we have to start getting back to the train, so let's push on. But this city is definitely a place to come back to. I'm amazed by the amount of culture there's here. So, but let's keep going. So as we will keep walking down the Piazza degli Uffizi, you can see all these famous Florentines and Italians of the time. For example, there's Leonardo da Vinci, portrayed in his classical wear. Aretino, who appears to be, I think, a musician. There's a music note right by him. And many others. There's one in particular I wanted to visit, because quite enjoy his works. Yeah, as you can see, this is just beautiful. Look at that. It's like literally walking through a museum already. And here, there's little stands of local artists, you know, painting a beautiful images of Florence and nature and animals. You can stop by if you get a portrait of yourself or your loved one. But okay, where is the buddy that we came to visit? Ah, there we are, pondering on something. There you go, look at this. We came to visit here Niccolò Machiavelli, one of the greatest political writers of the time, of the Renaissance. Of course, you might know his works, The Prince, which he written for the Borgias at the time to basically tell them how to rule. It's a very interesting work because it sort of teaches the leader how to be, you know, in a way conniving, in a way realistic, another way ruthless, very pragmatic, but at the same time it was largely a complementary work. He was honoring in it the current leaders, so he became from being a junior bureaucrat here in Florence, he flew to the heights of being one of the most influential sort of behind the scenes puppeteers and the ideologist of ruling classes at the time. So really cool to come say hi to good old Niccolò. All right, well, we're about to leave this part of the city, and next we're gonna make our way to Michelangelo's Plaza, which is supposedly it's one of the best places in all of the city to admire Florence. It's designed by Michelangelo himself. It's beautiful, but it's a little bit of a hike, but I think you can't see it from here, but it's on the hills, green hills right there. So if you've ever seen any postcards or anything like that depicting Florence, that's usually where they take the photos from. It's from that perfectly built court by Michelangelo himself. So pretty cool. Let's go check it out. And of course here, as we're walking over this bridge, we can see a beautiful river Arno and Ponte Vecchio, which is a very famous landmark here in Florence. It's a sort of arch bridge with shops built on it. So it used to be, you know, like market shops, butchers, and grocery stores in medieval times, but nowadays it's mostly jewelers and designer clothes kind of things there. But it's a very kind of unique place, and also the history sort of tells us that on the top of it, you see where those little windows are? Well, that's where a secret passage was reserved for the ruler of the city to escape from that tower that we just saw over the river and out. So pretty neat. All right, guys, so we're almost at Michelangelo's Plaza, but as we're walking up, unfortunately we won't have the time, but if you look behind me, you can see a church, a church of San Miniato al Monte. And what is this? It has a really cool history behind it. Supposedly, Miniato was a prince or a king from Armenia, and he was serving in Roman army in the 5th century AD. And then somehow, I guess, people found out that he was a Christian, because at some point he started being a hermit on this mountain right here. And so then the Roman emperor at the time, Decius, basically said, okay, well, he's a heathen, he's not a proper Roman. So what they did is they threw him to the lions but he didn't die. He somehow survived that, and then the emperor eventually said, okay, well, let's behead him. And so they did that at the Piazza della Signoria that we just saw earlier today. And according to the legend, Miniato then took his own head, pulled it after being beheaded. He took his own head and then walked across River Arno that we walked across, and then walked himself all the way up to this church right there. And you know, that's when this place became holy, and there's also a monastery there. So it's kind of a cool little story. As you can see, it's a beautiful church, one of the most picturesque ones. Definitely has one of the best views in the city, as we're on what is called the mountain of Florence. And so next time we'll definitely try to make it up there, but not for today. Now we're off to Michelangelo's Plaza.
Oh, look at that little...
Oh, look at this view. So we finally made it to the top. This is the road, the serpentine road that we took to get up here. It's a pretty alright hike, maybe 20-minute hike. But look at this. You can see the lush green gardens of Tuscany. And then in the front there, we're about to see one of the most picturesque and famous focal points overlooking the city of Venice. Oh, sorry, the city of Florence. So let's go check it out.